Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My wife is staying in a nearby hotel and won't answer calls or texts. My wife and I have been married for 8 years this October and had been dating for almost 3 before that. We have had some really amazing memories together. We've been able to travel some, have 2 beautiful children, and have generally been pretty problem-free throughout our marriage, other than the occasional fight over something silly. One thing I do have to explain is that in the months before we were to be married, I found that she had been sending emails and talking to an old boyfriend of hers. When I found out, she deleted all of the evidence and swore on her life that it was nothing bad, that she was just tying up loose ends and nothing more. Of course, not knowing the context was more difficult for me than anything, but I decided to forgive her, perhaps foolishly, and proceed with the marriage, and we've been together with no infidelity ever since. I can't say I have regrets because I have 2 perfect children and a relatively happy life. However, during COVID and being cooped up together so much, we started getting short with each other and I could tell she wasn't very happy. After our kids were born, 7 years ago, she was frequently sleeping in the same room with them because she nursed and said it was easier. She did have postpartum depression, and we never really made a good transition out of her being in another room. I more often than not was asleep in our bed by myself, although we were frequently intimate. I always had to wonder how she was spending her time on her phone, so I asked her if there were any conversations that I should know about. She swore up and down there was nothing, but I found where some copies of Twitter DMs had been sent to her old email address as notifications. It seemed to be nothing racy, but it was a guy referring to an old conversation with her and asking if they could keep in touch through Twitter after she deactivated her Facebook. I was pretty livid because she had gone out of her way to delete all of the evidence, once again, leaving me assuming the worst. I asked to see her phone, for the first time in years, and she appeared to be ready to physically fight me to stop me from seeing. This is where I messed up. I was so upset and angry I grabbed the phone and threw it on the ground and told her to leave. I was furious and knew that if we didn't separate ourselves it would be worse. She did leave, and has been staying in a hotel for over a week now. She won't return my calls or barely responds to texts, and I have the kids here with me raising them alone. She says that I was invading her privacy and that I am controlling, but this was honestly the first time that I'd asked to see anything of that sort in years. Now she acts like saving our marriage is a lost cause, and I've apologized over and over for breaking her phone and losing my temper. I know it all looks bad, but I truly don't think she has been fully cheating, as we've been very careful during COVID and we live very far from the person she was talking to. On the other hand, it seems like there's been no interest in fixing any of this, and she won't tell me if she is moving out or what she wants to actually do. She doesn't seem interested in getting help and I truly don't know what to do. She says she wants space, but we have had a lot of space between us over the years. In Reddit's professional opinion, does this sound like a lost cause? Dude, she is cheating. Stop lying to yourself. Trust me, I know how easy it is to lose conviction when she's swearing up and down to you with tears in her eyes. But you gotta man up and leave her. Yup. Once you've cheated, I don't care in what form, or how mild, your right to privacy is now determined by your so. Don't like it? Then ducking leave. She's ducking someone else. I'm sorry. Call a divorce lawyer. File for a divorce if you're in a for-cause state. Assuming you're in the USA, the cause is abandonment. You guys can try to work it out while the litigation is pending. Don't waste time in protecting your assets. I agree, lawyer up, she has abandoned her children. Which will work in his favor for custody arrangement. But he needs to control his temper. His kids do not need their parents to implode like this. This will likely get even messier and I doubt she'll volunteer any information, so Op needs to accept that and regulate his emotions when she returns. I don't think she abandoned her children. She's only been gone a week. Op told her to leave. My husband had left for a week before and it was certainly not abandonment. Abandonment means permanent leave. She's in a hotel. I can't say anything about the cheating because I'm not psychic. I don't even know if therapy really works. If there's a chance it does, please try. Cheating and ruining your marriage is like abandoning your family but with extra steps. Go completely grey rock and contact an attorney. The fact that she left you with the kids should give you a leg up in a divorce depending on your local laws. Remember, you don't have to file the papers in case you reconcile, but you need to start the process like yesterday. Stop all contact with her. I don't condone your behavior, so understand that you need to get your anger in control. However, something is wrong here, and for her to ditch the kids with you tells me she wants to be alone to see where her other relationship will go. I am so sorry, but this marriage is over. She is cheating and you need to speak to get legal advice. Preserve your assets. I am so sorry, pensive face. How do you know though? If the things you'd find on the phone were so serious that protecting them at the cost of saying everything in her life of the last decade is done and leaving out right, then I don't think anyone rational is going to say that the phone held nothing but cat pictures and chats with her mother. I have had the pleasure of experiencing this before, and what was uncovered in time was about as ugly as it could get, all things considered. This rings of her having been at the very least emotionally involved to varying levels with someone else, and the risk of having her dual life brought to light is completely unthinkable no matter what the cost. That includes you and the family you have, whatever the circumstances. Frankly, I'd see this as grounds to say things are done unless she turns a pretty hard 180 and makes great overtures to recover and repair things, but the odds of that seem slim right now. The catch is that this often results in the wayward partner finding out that their other option that seems so nice when things are simple doesn't actually measure up to the life they already have, so things fall apart for them and they try to come back to their safety net and backup plan, which also does not go well. My genuine advice is to at least seek initial counsel with a lawyer and prepare for the worst before you can get blindsided by it. Bro, she's cheating. She was hiding evidence of emotional cheating at the very least. Possibly physical cheating. Now she's run off, and I'll guarantee you she is cheating now. Expect to have her crawl back in a while, after she's sown all her oats, looking to reconcile, and have you apologize for the whole thing. File for divorce and change the locks, if the lawyer okays it. Immediately. Also, dude, paragraphs. They're not that hard. I have seen too many of these situations, and one common denominator in their deflections are that their spouse is being controlling. Start researching your lawyers. Yeah, you ducked up by breaking the phone. Not just because you shouldn't have gotten physical or lost your temper, but because now you gave her a pretext to make that the entire narrative and the perfect distraction from her very obvious affair. However, that doesn't really matter so much. I've been through the end of a marriage. At the time it is going down, nothing seems more important than the finger pointing, who did what, who gets what blame. But pretty much right after the papers are signed, it really doesn't, with one exception. The cheater will totally get a scarlet letter. An old friend of mine ran around on his wife. His kids hate him for it, he has to explain it to every new partner, and he'll never get to live it down. You breaking a phone? That's not going to matter in the long run. My friend, I have the dubious honor of being an alum of r/divorce. It is a very, very good community that has seen it all and been through it all before, and excels at giving good, measured, practical advice for the legal, practical, emotional and financial battles in your very near future. I cannot implore you strongly enough to seek their advice. This sub here is pretty dodgy in terms of the advice rendered, but your case is so clear, I think they will easily be able to tell you the show's over, but r/divorce is really, really good. I'll let that sub get into the details with you. But I will give you step 1. Get a lawyer, yesterday. It really doesn't matter if she is cheating. The trust is gone. The chances of trust coming back is slim to none. Couples therapy would be the next step, but only if both want it. If not, just make sure the kids are taken care of and do not see any arguments. You're fooling yourself if you don't think she's fully cheating. Not only is she cheating, she's been a serial cheater since before you were married. The woman you think you married is a fiction. You're only just now opening your eyes to that fact. I'm sorry, I know it's tough, but you gotta do what's right for you and for your kids. That means leaving, not staying for the sake of the children. You're going to find out more about your wife over the coming months if you stay, and it's not going to ease your mind. Better to leave and have a happy single life than to allow your kids to see their parents miserable while together. Update: my wife is staying in a nearby hotel and won't answer calls or texts. Original post. My wife finally had a conversation with me this past Friday and admitted that she had applied for a job 4 hours away in June of this year, and that they called and offered it to her this week, and she accepted. The job is a temporary contract type position in a creative field where she has no experience. They didn't do a sit-down interview or ask for a portfolio. Reviews of the company are spotty at best, and it seems that they're hiring someone green to run through the grinder and pay less than market average. The location is also in the busiest and fastest growing area in our state, and the rent for the house she's planning to lease is double that of our old mortgage. She claims a mom group of friends in the area helped her find it. She has hardly accepted any responsibility for the secrets and lying, and as others had suggested, it appears she used our altercation as the perfect opportunity to leave. I have plenty of blame in all of this, too, but making moves behind my back and hiding things for months is truly typical behavior for her in this situation. She came by to see our kids for an hour before leaving. She actually spent a few minutes with them. While I was putting them in the bath, she was getting decorations for her new place out of our storage shed. She insists on everything holy that there is no one there she is going to, but that we've been fighting for a while, referencing every hiccup we've had in 12 years. There were never any attempts from her to improve the marriage or communicate about these supposedly unfixable problems. I'm going to a lawyer next week and I've cut off contact with her in the meantime. She's checked out. You can inform your lawyer that she's abandoned your family. You will have better chances of full custody. Sounds like she wants that. I think so too. She stayed out for a week in a hotel and only went back for a few minutes to leave again. She's not wife material at the moment. She might have been seeing her AP, from your previous story. Well, the weird part of it is that she was staying at the hotel and still going to work at her part-time job. She supposedly did not have a real plan before the new job miraculously called within the last week. She took it as some kind of sign and jumped all over it before even stopping to reconsider. I'm telling you this now. Your WW is definitely cheating. And she's heading there with an AP. What your WW is showing right now is a woman in an affair fog. She denies everything about an affair, but in fact she's deep in it. The mere fact she stated that she wasn't having an affair without you even asking it is something. She's moving 4 hours away with someone. That I can be sure of. With or without work, she will be abandoning you and your family. From what I previously stated, she already checked out of your marriage. She's no longer your wife. Now, I know you have a strong case against her because of abandonment and all other stuff. It's up to you if you want to continue being married with her or not, but from what I can see you're already heading for D right now. She's not reconciliation material, and she's not a safe partner for you and not a safe mother for your kids. You better gather all the evidence you can get and file for D now while she's deep in the fog. When she wakes up, her life is headed to the dumpsters. That I can assure you. That will happen. But it will be too late for her. One thing, I definitely asked if she was having an affair before she volunteered that she wasn't. And yes, at this point I do not consider her my wife any longer, sadly. I just don't know how the logistics of this would have worked out. Is it practical that an online affair would have led to such drastic moves? She insists that it would have never happened this way had I not made her leave the house. Cheaters won't admit they're cheating. Nobody will self-incriminate themselves, unless they're caught in the act. You can tell based on her actions, even if she doesn't admit it, her actions will tell. You didn't make her leave the house, she did it by herself. She is trying to put the blame on you. Don't give in to her gaslighting. Even if she's mad at you, she has kids to take care of. Nobody in their right mind would just go out of the house for a few days and then go back to talk to their kids for 5 minutes. That's not a good parent at all. It's better to move on now than later. Don't put yourself in further limbo. She's not worth it at the moment. She's out there trying to enjoy her life while you're the primary parent and primary provider at home. All the best. Be strong for your kids. DNA tested your kids, dude. She's been cheating before marriage. Lol, people on here have been saying this, but we've slept together. A lot. Through all these years. I've never had a reason to suspect anything like this before recently, and she's never been out in places that didn't add up. And my kids are definitely mine. We have very distinguishable features and they could have been my childhood twin. Well, you'll never know the truth until you test them. You had sex with her, but she also had sex with many people too. She is a serial cheater. Many fathers also thought their kids looks like them, only to find out later in life through a DNA testing company they aren't blood. Look, if they aren't yours genetically, they are still your kids. But if they aren't, they also have rights to know their biological history. I'm not denying that she is a serial liar, but the serial cheating part is just not feasible. There have been zero signs of that kind of thing, and trust me, because of the previous trust issues, I had every reason to look closer than most. If it had occurred, then she is truly the most cunning navigator on the planet. That would have made for an interesting week if she had stayed. She could have said no and stayed anyway. It's a convenient excuse. Yes, I agree. I told her to get out and she didn't contest it whatsoever. I opened the door and she walked out without much hesitation. She also went straight to the AT&T store the next morning and leased the newest iPhone on her dad's account. I know it's hard to do much now without a phone, but there was definitely more heartbreak over the broken phone than broken trust. Did she leave the broken phone with you? So sorry this has all come to a head so quickly, very hard to explain to the kids too. Yes, she did leave it at the house, but it was inoperable. I put the SIM card in my phone to try gathering evidence with login codes, but I truly didn't find anything that was overtly incriminating. She frequently left her phone laying around the house and never seemed to fear a stray text message popping up when I was nearby. If she is doing all of this because she's having an online affair, then she is one of the most calculated and efficient operators I can imagine. The chat times would have been agreed to by both parties and it must have been with vanishing messages. Honestly, I think she is too clumsy to have hidden something so well, so that's why it is so tough to understand. Unless I truly am so awful to live with that she'd just take the biggest leap of faith of her life and also leave her kids behind. I don't think that's it, though, or don't want to think that. Probably not a good reason. But I mean, I don't see it ending too well, given your wife not only cheats, but is now with someone who was okay getting it on with a married woman, and having her abandon family to make it happen. She's abandoned everything for some prick and eventually will probably be without that. Regardless of who she may have been, that's all you need to know now. I have no evidence that they were together. The messages I found were innocuous and did not point to anything of that nature. She did wrong by hiding and lying to me about it, but she said it was because she doesn't really know him and thought I would have been mad and questioning why she bothered talking to him in the first place. He asked to stay in contact with her through Twitter and she didn't seem to deny the request, but there were no further messages I found past that conversation. I also notified this guy's wife because of how shady it all looked, so I really doubt it's that guy, if anyone. Why be together with a serial cheater when you can duck her really quick and drop her back off at her family's place? Good call. She's making decisions that impact the family without discussing them with you. Irrespective of a third party, there's not much left to salvage here. She is going to find a BF. She knows somebody there. As much as I'd like to believe when she says it's nothing like that, it's hard to imagine it's not on the horizon. Damn up, I really hate this for you, but she is most definitely cheating. Deep down you know this to be true. Divorce is not easy, but you'll get through it. You deserve so much better than what you're going through. Focus on your kiddos and yourself. And don't let her come crawling back when she realizes she messed up bad. I believe that there's definitely a big piece of the puzzle missing. I don't know how she would have ever been physically cheating with someone because we moved several hours away from where she's from, and because of the pandemic we were together pretty much all day every day. And if she'd met someone here, then she's moving very far away from them. But I do believe there's something going on that she obviously isn't telling. She's abandoning her children? What a real piece of crap she is. But for the kids' sake it absolutely sounds best that you'll split up. Once the paperwork is done, never let her cross the threshold of the house again, and get your kids some therapy for being abandoned by their mother. Well, she actually made it sound like she expected me to take care of them until she has all of her ducks in a perfect row in her new situation. I decided today that I wasn't going to lay down like that, and that because of her erratic behavior that they will be better off with me. Absolutely. Protect the kids at all cost. Get it down legally. Provide some family therapy for the abandonment issues they will feel. She abandoned the marriage. I'm sorry, it's gonna be rocky, but at the end hopefully you will have primary custody and child support. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.